The Concept 1B is a great tank in World of Tanks Blitz, and we've got Fury right here on New Bay showing us how to play the map and how to be extremely lucky. And if you want to send me your replays, put them on my Discord server, link to that in the description. Now, this vehicle, pretty much all-round good. 3k DPM, 380 alpha damage, good dispersion, good accuracy, solid enough ability to get you where you need to be, and very good turret armor as well, which means this is a hull-down monster if played in the right position. Now, unfortunately, this map isn't really all that good for it, but it's also quite a flat tank, which means that if you get below a lot of vehicles, and you facehug them, they can't really pin you if they can't go down onto the hull, because the hull is quite well angled at the top, so you just gotta wiggle yourself back and forward, and they're not going to be able to pin the turret, so this thing works quite well for that as well. Now, what isn't working, as you can probably see on the B cap that the team has taken, there is a pretty big disadvantage over there, and that is the big downside of this map. You have this massive imposing train area that pretty much oversees the entire rest of the map, and if you're not in control of this area, you're going to have a pretty big problem of retaking it. So you kind of, in a way, want to play this train depot or this train bridge if you can do that. Now, the Object 268 and the Hooray are both over there, and they're both pretty screwed. The team's currently taking out the Foch, so it is going to be a one-tank disadvantage very soon. So you want to be aware of that in the future and not lose too many hit points. The Panzer's turning away. The Batchat's now down as well. Before the Foch went down, the Batchat's done. And now that Hooray is going to get slaughtered as well. And it is going to be a 3 versus 5. And what you want to do here, as always in a situation like this, you want to do 2 things. Preserve hit points, generate distance. And if you have those 2 things, you can then pick your fights and get 1v1s in a situation like this. You can use that wall to get sort of a pseudo hull down position where only your turret pokes out. And this vehicle's turret is pretty much impenetrable for a lot of enemies. So you can pretty much achieve that right there. And here comes the full HP IS-7 straight up bouncing off the front. Shoot at the lower plate, guys, because that's pretty much a weak spot on every single tank in the game. That's not the Object 268 version 4. So the IS-7 kind of forgot that memo, and he's now peeking out sideways. So what you can see already there from that move is that the IS-7, he's not the best of players. He's not top level. So dealing with him is reasonably easy, but in a 1v3 right here, that is definitely not what you want, especially when the only teammate is over there chasing Tankster. So how the hell are you supposed to get out of this? 358 hit points left right here, and 2 big heavies pushing, but perfect choice right there. Take out the Karo first, and now what does the IS-7 do? He does just drive off the damn hill, and now it is a 1v1 with the Object 268, and this is exactly what I talked about. You want to have this thing in a frontal face hug right here, because that 268 has no chance to pen that turret of the Concept. He could use HE right here with 144 hit points left, but he doesn't. He don't even need a driver for that. Those 2 shots that he just took, those could have been HE, and that would have been enough to finish off the Concept 1B here, but he didn't. He just was like, I'd rather lose. And now a 3rd shot that he got off that bounced, that he could have also fired with HE, that did not go in. And now 144 hit points left right here, and the IS-7 has made an awful mistake because it decided to go away from the Object 260 and allow here's some space that is perfectly usable. Now we're gonna go back and play around the Karo. The corpse of the Karo is pretty useful, and now the IS-7 is using the HE rounds. 35 hit points, no more mistakes allowed now. And the IS-7 has sort of realized he has to get level, he has to get up. And these walls right here are extremely useful for the Concept 1B. But he tries again with the HE, something the Object 260 should have done a long time ago. But there was not enough, and Fury finished him off for 6,600 damage dealt here, even more in the post-battle screen. One of the craziest replays I have ever seen, and really it shows that that position is very, very powerful. And if you are against the Concept 1B that is on very low HP, just fire HE down, because the driver sits right below the turret. You have the essentially like a cupola there, a mini cupola, and if you shoot HE into that, it is gonna do some damage if you're face-hugging the Concept 1B. But now, we're gonna switch to the Tiger right here, and the Drake gone with Tiger 2. We're gonna go into the city this time and play from the other side. Something that most of the time doesn't really work too well. But in this case, there's not a single medium tank right here, and the enemies have one medium tank. So it is probably gonna be a slaughterfest over here in this tier 9 battle. Now, what you want to do in the Tiger, especially if you're low tier, is very simple. In a tier 7 battle, the Tiger is extremely powerful with its armor. But in a tier 9 battle, they're just gonna pen straight through the front with premium ammo. They don't care. So you're gonna have to be a little bit more careful, especially also of the cupola on top of the tank you want to watch out for. So here, the situation is also somewhat similar than it is on the train bridge. You have these little crevices and hills that you always want to use to your advantages. Those walls on the train bridge are your best friend if you're trying to fight down from it. But if you're over here, you want to make sure to use the ground properly, not sit around a 90-degree angle like those guys over there, unless you're a VK90 or something like that that can side scrape and make use of that. Because if you don't have a tank that's good at side scraping, every flat corner that you peek around, every house, every barn that you peek around, you're gonna get shot for it if you don't have a tank that's good at side scraping. So don't do that. Now, the Löwe, he's just peeked out in the open and got himself wrecked. Here's a charioteer, just mindlessly sit out in the open. What is the point even of trying? I mean, there isn't any really. The point of the game is to have fun, but at least try a little bit, ideally. Now that Chimera, he's in a very bad spot right there because he is gonna get absolutely destroyed from the back and also from the front, from that elephant. Ouch. And that is really what you want to do on this map. You have 2 areas over here. You've got 3 guys on this side, and you had a Chimera and a charioteer over there, and those 2 are relatively soft compared to the heavies, so that's what you want to focus on first and take those out because they're easy to kill, and that already puts a lot of guns out of the game. That is easier to deal with than later because the less guns there are on the enemy team, the easier it is to deal with. And now, perfect death position here for the object because that now means you can use him as sort of extra armor. The Tiger is high enough to peek over the object 752, so extra armor obtained right there. But here comes the K2 around the other side, which could pose a problem, but again, the 752 is extremely useful. If you don't have cover, just wait for your teammates to die and you'll have some right there. It worked last game with the Caro, and it is going to work again with the 752 right here. And the K2 just sitting out in the open is a vehicle that could theoretically just scrape off a corner, but he's just not going to do it. He can't do that. And the KPZ hammers a shot into the 752. He's already dead, but the KPZ still doesn't like the 752, so he has to put in another shell. And now, what is he going to do? 1,400 hit points on a Tiger versus his 300 hit points. What is he going to do? Of course he's going to YOLO forward and push into a fight that he can never in his life win, especially with Dracon's excellent aim here into the cupolas of the KPZ. Don't do that, kids. If you can see that you're not going to win a fight, just don't go in the first place. And here comes the K2, who can theoretically win the fight against the KP5, but he bottled his shot, and now he's pretty much dead. Aim your shot, and there we go. And now you gotta watch out because from the back comes a Skoda T56 and puts 1 shell into the Tiger. 4,100 damage already done here in this tier 9 battle, and 2 one-shots against a pretty much full HP Skoda T56. This is not gonna be very nice, but what you have to do here is play it very well. The elephant says AFK Tiger 2. That doesn't help really because the Tiger 2 is indeed not AFK, and the Skoda is very, very bad here because what he does is he doesn't take himself space. You always need to get, if you're in a 1vx situation, you don't fight 2 tanks at the same time, no matter how low on hit points they are, because what's going to happen here, the Skoda is going to go for the Tiger. He's not even going to pen the Tiger, and now the KV5 can go to the other side and shoot the Skoda from an angle that he can't defend from. Look at that, the KV5's, well, he's now coming back this way, but basically you can attack from 2 sides, even if you're a one-shot both times. And he screws it up again. That's pretty lucky here as well, 5,500 damage. And you don't want to do this. Wherever you go, do not push into multiple tanks at the same time. Always play 1v1s. And if you push in together, make sure to not shoot 5 times AP into a concept 1B that you can't pin. Excellent game right here. This is a masterclass of how to use the ground of this map, and I hope you enjoyed.